Hello on the planet and beyond. It's Shadi up between here and there. And I want to go over some things when it comes to how we use these ecosystem services, okay? So my big one is on water because water is the blood of the planet. It's literally the life force and what we look for through our other systems to see if we can sustain life there, okay? So everything that you do on a day-to-day basis requires a form of water, okay? Whether we use it for energy, whether we use it for our personal consumption or something extracurricular, okay? Water is that lifeline. So I notice a lot of conversation when it comes to certain communities, especially when we move into the summer season, about our conservation of water and how the populace, the consumer, needs to decrease the amount of water usage, okay? However, when we look at the statistics and look at the numbers of who's using most of the water, it is not the private owner. It's not the consumer. It's more of irrigation. It's more of electricity. And it's more of electricity technology and industrial uses. Okay. So I do have a map here. This is out of the Environmental Chemistry Ninth edition by Stanley M. Manahan. And so these dates go to 1995. You can see here, but you can see this is the personal use here in this dark area, and then you're going into this irrigation and industrial use. And then this is electricity. Now this is going into 1995. There was a spike in 1975. That 1972, 1975 bus came in when we had a lot of technologies to develop. One of those being like remote sensing and satellites being ejected into our upper atmospheres to render more imagery when it comes to our planet, as well as communication technology. So, for this to be at this scale and water use, billions of liters per day, for it to go to this in 1995, we're 2024 and into 2050 is when the U.S. government wants to lower their carbon emissions significantly, and that's going to move to a more clean energy model. The clean energy model is going to use more nuclear energy, okay? So because it's using more nuclear energy, it's using more water, we have to come up with solutions that keep in line with this, okay? So I say, because as I've looked at the models um, of clean energy, the models of electric solutions, it's here to stay as far as what a lot of these corporations have built out and the model they're using to have it hit the market at a very high level. Okay, it's here. However, we need to focus on what that looks like, excuse me, for ecosystem services. For what we use on the planet, what does that look like? Are we running into a brick wall, or are we coming up with solutions that will be sustainable in the long run? Okay, so I think we need to focus on our water usage as far as what we use in nuclear energy. Okay, so a bit of background when it comes to water usage versus more fossil fuel and coal and subsurface carbon combustion. It Nuclear energy uses 17% more water than those subsurface energy models. 17% more water, and we're already running into a freshwater crises in different areas, especially when you go more of the the western portion of the country and the southern portion. So in Florida doesn't have as much because of how that landmass is structured, but when you move over to Texas and California, they have more issues when it comes to their water. California uses the Colorado River for a lot of their supply, which has faced drastic changes because of how much water has been extracted from that model. Now, I know I'm running through a lot of information. I'm putting this out here. There's going to be different models of information that I want to put out. Some things I'm going to slow down and dissect. I have like organic chemistry models. So I want us to be able to get into all these topics and to understand, because there is information out here of what's happening, but it's not cohesive. It's also sometimes not presented in a manner that's appealing to the average person, of what they have going on in their life and how that relates to their life and how that affects them, because they don't directly see it. Oh yeah, lowering water, that doesn't really affect me. And so, but it does in the long run, especially when it comes to technologies building and how quickly those models want to stand up and be its own machine, running and functional. Okay, so the cycling of water through our systems. Most of the water on the planet is salt water, 97%. 3% is fresh water. That's what we use for hygiene, for food consumption, for even industrial irrigation, electricity, like previously discussed. So when it comes to our nuclear energy models, we need to be thinking about different sources of cooling. Now, with a nuclear reactor, okay, so the reactor, it's a form of fission, so where the energy is able to be released and we're able to transmute that into something usable to light our houses, to power our vehicles, to do anything surrounding electricity, even when it comes to other scientific build outs of other technologies. So some of that energy is used to mesh together atoms or to pull them apart, okay, bond or bonding or release. Again, we'll get into details of that, and I'm going to make sure that I probably design out a segment that is more just the education piece, so you have more background. Even though in these videos I do break it down into smaller pieces, you can refer to that education folder so you can get more background of maybe some terminology you're not used to, or these up and coming technologies that you're not familiar with when it comes to different events that between here and there goes to, and to where you can be able to digest and make decisions when it comes to your future plans, when it comes to the technology market, also understanding your environment. Okay, so with this nuclear reactor and this fission that happens, this reaction has to be submerged in water, because that reaction is massive. Okay, so you may have noticed some nuclear reactions that have happened on different videos and such. And so that is to show you how much energy is released, the heat, the temperature, the effects on the body or whatnot that comes with it. So that water acts as a buffer, so you don't receive all of that energy coming back on you, and it's not doing anything to your physical body. Okay, so with water being that constituent, that solution that acts as that buffer, and also a cooling mechanism, we've already seen in technology that salt water is the best solution. Okay, when it comes to even if you're boiling a pot of water for pasta, when you put salt in it, the boiling comes down. Okay, so that brings the cooling temperature down. The boiling temperature has to be increased for that body of water to increase as well. So more energy has to be added to the system. Therefore, the system is able to to withstand more energy. So that high amount of nuclear energy is able to be brought down and cooled when it's moving into that phase of its its energy production. Okay, so I want to leave you all with that piece for now. I'm going to get into some of the organic chemistry. It's been a minute. I'm back in this thing. It's a lot of things that the Most High God had me rearrange and ensure that God is within this model that I'm doing. God has always been in everything that I do. However, I've kept it very close to me as almost like a separate portion of myself and of the business, but it all is a collective entity, and so therefore I have to include it, and it's been making a lot more sense as far as this build out as a collective, because everything and everyone is needed to come together to make this blueprint and these operating procedures to move forward to a better planet. So thank you so very much for your time. I'm going to put some shorts up and some education pieces, as well as work on these portions when it comes to modeling for our up and coming inventors. Okay, at every single level, there's opportunities and contests where individuals can enroll their scientific knowledge, their mathematical knowledge, their engineering knowledge, STEM knowledge, to be able to move into more innovation, as well as some other models that I've put up when it comes to intellectual property. Because at any level, I would want people to create versus destroy. And well, even if it's in a destruction, it is a proper destruction when it comes to our waste, life cycling of products, etc. To be able to model that, but also withhold that invention and be able to employ it in different ways that you see fit, versus someone else that has either copycat you or run amok on something that you didn't want. And when it comes to that process. So anyway, without much further adding, thank you so much for your time. Shadia Between Here and There. If you have any questions, go to the website betweenhtllc.com. Get your questions answered. We are a Thrive-based consulting business surrounding global hygiene and applications of information technology. So that's being able to go out and observe your situation, clean it up, and implement a more sustainable practice to keep that running. Okay? Talk to you later, and stay prayed up, y'all.